Hi guys, this is Cobra Tom,
And Venom Lily.
and we are going to do a video today. And that video is G.I. Joe. Yo Joe. We are doing the final vehicle of Battle Force 2000. I have saved the best for last. Personally, Maverick is my favorite figure. And the Vector Jet is very cool. Has some problems, but is very cool. Now, I want to do two things over this file card. Actually, technically, three. Um, it's been said that Dodger is the leader, and for all intents and purpose, it doesn't matter. It's a cobbled together group of guys who fight in the future and ranks and all that stuff when you're in a special unit. Doesn't technically matter. But technically, he's a captain. So he would most likely be the leader because he is an actual officer, but that doesn't mean anything in a special unit, especially one that's like, we're going to be in the future and we're going to fight Cobra and, well, Destro actually, and do all of that. The second thing I want to point out is his name, Maverick, which definitely is an homage and a ripoff of the Top Gun movie. And the third thing, other than, he doesn't really look like Tom Cruise, but look at the name. Thomas F. Keeley? Now, Tom Cruise is the name of the actor in Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. You don't think that they put that together? Now, I could be completely wrong. That could just be a name that they had decided to give him before any of this started, and then was like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah, and we'll just make him Maverick. And the other part of this, why this is my favorite, he had Thomas is my name. So when I was 1987, I was 8 years old. So having the same name, that meant he was my character. Now I'm going to go over the features of the Vector Jet, which isn't something I really talked about too terribly much, but I liked the names of all of the vehicles. The Vindicator, the Vector Jet, the Eliminator. They didn't do like the Flak Cannon and put out some really hard and complicated acronym to make the name. And they didn't make an acronym like the Havoc with the heavy armed artillery, something crap. I don't know what it was. So I just like that these names were actual names and they didn't try to stretch something to try to be a cool sounding name. Vindicator, Eliminator, Dominator, Sky Sweeper. I'm trying to think of what other one is there. But anyway, all the names are really cool, and they at least have like this, have an actual name instead of an acronym that they tried to force into a vehicle. Now, as for the plane itself, as you can see, I didn't have mine down. Mine work, but mine are quite rigid. And the reason I don't keep it down is, for one thing, these wheels. They do work, but they're really hard plastic. They're not rubber. There's not anything special about them. As you can see, it only raises it up a little bit. And as you can kind of see, this one's higher than these two, so they don't even balance right. It doesn't even feel like it's really balanced right. So I never actually have them down. Besides, I'm also afraid that I have these little clips here, and I'm just afraid I'm going to break mine. Oh. I'll do the bottom first because I got it over. Anyway, he's got 2 forward machine guns. He's got 4 missiles. I will take one off to show you the missiles. They've got actually quite some detail, and the dumbbell hole peg system, and it's got some detail. Kind of feels a tiny bit hollow, just kind of when you're looking at it, it feels a touch hollow because it isn't like a completely filled in thing, but it's not. I mean, this is hardly the worst missile. And then they have 2 wing mounted heavy machine guns. One on this end and one on this end. They also have hopefully you can see that, the lock and unlock thing that they all had. They all shared this kind of lock and unlock. This one doesn't say it, but it definitely has it. And then I will go and I will get my knife out. And they have 2 engine covers that are green, the other green of all the other vehicles in the line. Here is the detail. It's got some nice engine detail. Not really sure. I'm not a Air Force person or anything. Here's the engine intakes. Here's just mechanical detail. Intakes, again, it's a mechanical detail, which you can put right back in. And then the thrusters in the back, which are green, but slightly plain. Now we come to the actual problem. Now, this part, I'm going to grab my fridge figure here. Nice big figure. And we're going to open it up. This opens up, and you have some really nice pod detailing with the tail gunner's seat. You can see that this tail gunner seat is huge. Well, for an airplane. It's got up and down machine guns, 2 handholds, one on each end, so that you can have a figure in there, and you can have him, because they're small enough, and I would normally say don't put them on there, but these ones are small enough that you can actually fit nicely in the hands, and it looks really like, yeah, there you go, that looks really good. Now you just kind of gotta, sometimes you kind of gotta go a little slow because you gotta get past the figure, but there you go. It's got a nice feature that it can spin on the base here and here. You can't do 360, but you can get a good range at least. Now, all right, I am not nuts about the handle, or the hinge, I'm sorry, the hinge, because it just sticks out and does not look real great. This being its second mode, it goes up against the wall in the Future Fortress. But here it is, and it does have some nice features. On the bottom here, it does rotate, so you can make it spin. 360 degrees. It can spin all the way around. I hope that you guys were able to see that. I'll try to kind of do that this way and get my hands out of the way. So it does go all the way around, and that is really nice. It does have a really nice canopy bubble, which does, when you don't have it matched up against the thing, it seems a lot darker. But when you match it against the canopy, it is really close. It's got this orangish kind of color to it, and it matches pretty well. I think that that's actually pretty good. But see, here's the other thing. Sometimes you kind of have to finagle it a little bit to get it closed. Now, when the machine gun part is off, I mean, I guess you could make it look like a shuttle, but you can see clearly that there's something missing on this, and that's too bad, because this actually does have a clear line that it connects the thing and clicks in nicely, and when you're playing with it, it's not going to fall. I mean, if you heard that, it had a nice click, so it stays nice and tight. Here's what I wish it would be. I wish that this was more, instead of sticking all the way out and all the way, I wish it were flush, and then give the front end of the airplane more space. Because while I like the inner detail, sorry if it's squeaking, I do like that panel, but I wish it was either hollow, or I wish that they would have made the craft a touch wider and left this more flush to the end. Because when you got a Maverick here, we'll take off his gun. Poor Maverick doesn't fit. You can't keep it closed. He doesn't fit in his airplane. You have to bend his knees and scrunch him all the way down to fit in his cockpit. And it really just doesn't look very good. Now, if they would have kept this part, see how it's kind of got like a open spot? If they would have just left the front end of the craft open, and then it clicked down, and then you had like this piece here flush to this piece right here open, I think he would have fit better, and you could actually close, or have taken a piece of the gunner port that sticks way out, and then when it's gone, you certainly can tell that something is missing when you take this off. Even though this looks cool, looks good, looks like it shoots like would have a lot of ammunition and would look like it would be fed really nicely. I wish this would be a little bit smaller. And I wish you'll see that second part mode when I actually do the Future Fortress. I wish this was a little smaller. And I wish that the things did not stick out, because now poor Maverick, you can't get Maverick to actually look like he's sitting in his airplane and sitting comfortably in his airplane. If it was a tiny bit wider and it was a tiny bit, if it just had like a little bit more, he wouldn't have to have his knees bent. He could actually be sitting and looking like he was using the controls. If it was like a quarter of an inch wider and about a quarter of an inch longer. And you took some of the bubble part and made that smaller and made the part of the gun lower, even though it does like sit kind of flat and nicely, you could put this and make this a little bit smaller, and I think you could have used less plastic for the bubble and given him a quarter of an inch or maybe half an inch and made this like a half an inch longer and a half an inch wider, and he'd fit in there so much better. I am going to go over the figure and its accessories. I went to look, and all it says is for the helmet that it has a clear visor, which it doesn't, and it has bright blue resembling space helmet, more than a traditional fighter pilot helmet, matching his vehicle. I get that. I actually do. And in many ways, I do kind of wish there was a clear visor on there. I kind of do. I think that would make it look good. Now, you can't see this on the file card because it just has a picture of him and his pistol. But he would have had on the card art a red visor, which I think if this would have had like a red visor or maybe like a green to fit with the suit and his boots. I think if this would have had like an opaque green, or maybe like, well, I think maybe the yellow would have looked ugly with that. But if you'd have given him a red or a green little tiny visor, I think that would have looked really hot, really good on this figure. I shall take this off. Here is the visor. It's empty. I do wish there was a visor on that. That is too bad. Here's the breathing piece. Here's what I assume is like a air seal for the plane, is my guess. Kind of like an astronaut, but I don't know that, but kind of has an astronaut feel. It does have a nice running ridge on it. That's nice. And it gives kind of a ear thing, probably some kind of mechanical or things to let him hear what's going on. This is my guess. There's nothing that says anything about the helmet. I even looked it up. I did try, and there was nothing about it. So you just have to use your imagination, I guess. Forgive me again, I have to read this. Maverick's gun, the XL-13 laser pistol, or simply laser rifle. The laser pistol or submachine gun, often depicted in silver here. Once again, I will read this. This is a semi-automatic machine pistol. And the semi-automatic machine pistol fires one bullet per trigger using recoil and gas energy from each shot. To automatically eject the spent case and load the next round from the magazine, allowing the rapid continuous fire without manually cycling the action. So it means you don't have to keep pumping each round. Where it comes out, I'm not 100% sure. My guess is here's where the ammunition is put in. And so when it fires, it kicks back And it probably comes out of the side here. Because I think the top part is just a grip. Is like kind of where you handle it or you like put it in the holster. Because this bottom part, I'm pretty sure, is the ammunition. So my guess is, now I guess it's possible it comes out of the top. It fires, clunk, and comes out, ejects out of the top. I suppose that's possible. I don't know enough about guns that makes that true, because it would come up like this and out. So it is possible, I guess. It's a unique pistol, that's for sure. It's got a bit of tech design on it. One of the reasons why I like this figure so much is it's got a very spaceman astronaut, not Luke Skywalker per se, but has that kind of like space adventurer look to him. He's got the really nice space outfit. He's got the astronaut suit, kind of, the metal chest plate, back plate, and front armor piece, and, well, silver man protecting. And this pop of green is really nice because it kind of goes with the boots and all the vehicles and kind of the figures in a sort of a way. So it's got nice things on the side here. I'm guessing that is ammunition for the gun, I assume. Come on, focus. Thank you. However, I don't know that that's for sure because of how the gun is. I don't know if that's what gets put into here. It has about the right length to it so that you could pull it up and then load it into here. But that seems like a bit too long if you were to pull the strapping, if that was a strap and you were to load up your gun with that. But in a round cylinder like this might work. I don't know enough about that. Otherwise, I'm not 100% sure what this is. On his gloves, I will try to get that as best as I can. He's got some mechanical looking detail on there. And on this glove, it's kind of the same. This figure is known for a little bit of yellow. My figure is actually starting to yellow a little bit on the arms. That's too bad. I really like this figure. He's got a couple pockets with that sort of same kind of like technical stuff on it. 2 pouches. And then on his boots, he's got ribbing all around it. I'm not sure what that's for. But as you can see, he's got 2 things for straps. Nice strapping there. Kind of goes over the top. So my guess is, because you can kind of see how this has kind of got like the ribbing on the bottom, that this is more of a cover. That the rest of the suit would be blue like that, but these boots go over the top. Perhaps anti-gravity, perhaps these are just like things for the top of the boots to keep your legs from, I don't know what that's called, like falling asleep or something in high velocity and high altitudes. Now the other boot, he's got the same kind of strap. Goes over the top there. So these boots are really nice. The whole thing is a really nice I just wish you'd get a little bit more. I wish you'd just get a little bit more explanation to what his helmet is and what some of his stuff on his flight suit is for. But otherwise, a wonderful figure. My favorite figure growing up as a kid. I was always Maverick. And if you'll indulge me for a split moment, do a little more nostalgia. I had a friend, and his name was Derek, and we were Thomas and Derek Cool. And we were out in space. We weren't fighter pilots. No. We were spaceships. And Derek Cool was the captain, so he was always up front like this. And he was sergeant, so he was always in the back like this, and we had another guy. I might actually go get him. I'll do a quick jump cut. Jump cut to Hunk from Exo Squad. Voltron. But our friend was named Kobe, and he would always pretended to be Lieutenant Cheesy. Kobe Cheese. Okay. So he was always like one of our guys, and boom. This is how we always pretended to play. This is what we were always doing. Captain Cool was in the front. Lieutenant Cheesy and Derek Cool, Sergeant Derek Cool was in the back here. Very cool astronauts and stuff. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I know it's a bit long and a bit much to talk nostalgia, I guess, but I appreciate your indulging me again on my nostalgia of years past. A very good toy. A very cool toy. Sadly, a touch too small in the front and a touch too big in the back. But it is otherwise very cool. And I recommend, of all of them, I recommend the figure and the Vector Jet. Especially if your Air Force is a bit small. This jet you could probably get for a bit of a steal. Battle Force 2000 isn't very popular, and this jet is a bit small, so it would probably fit in a decent price range, and you could get a couple of them, and you get a nice gun pod. So I think overall it is a very nice toy. Please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications so you never miss one of our awesome videos. Well, thank you for watching, and we will see you
next time.
Bye.
Bye.